Oh, good evening. Now it's 6:37 p.m. in Nairobi, Kenya. This is Urban Studio Photography, and with you is Geoffrey Mongai. I'm a Jeff Ukipenda. And today, as you're aware that every Monday we've been, as Urban Studio, been going live, explaining to you about the products that you have. Today we shall discuss about photo mounts. I will tell you more about frames and canvas. Yes, you copy with the canvas. And maybe before I explain to you about all those, because canvas, whether it's frame, whether it's photo mount, all of them, they serve one purpose. And this purpose, it is documenting your photos. There is nothing important like than documenting photos, because the documentation of photos is the one that explains to us about our roots, about our history. You can imagine if there were photographers during the time of Jesus Christ, for those of us who are Christians. Think of even during the creation, Adam and Eve. How do you think that explaining to people about the creation, if God had created a photographer during that time as he was creating the world, even explaining to people about the creation will be very, very easy. As wise person or people say that a photo can explain 1,000 words. So thanks to those people who came up with the technology of photos. And the technology of photo is as old as more than 100 years. So the purpose of photo is for documenting the event. And documenting of those events, it's very, very, very important. So whoever that is doing the documentation must make sure that the way that they are doing the documentation, that documentation should be tested over time. It's not that you've taken a photo. Make sure that you document it. And there are several ways of doing hard copy documentation of photos. For example, today you're talking about, shall tell you about this. This is a frame. This is a traditional way of mounting photos. This is a frame, and as you can see, that this is not just a common frame. This is a three. Actually, it is a three mount, frame, and then after frames, I believe everybody knows about. Then after frames, I believe everybody knows about frames. After frames, now as an evolution about documenting or about framing our photos and or about documenting our photos on the frames, there is another one that came up. It is called photo mount. Photo mount is like it's like a wooden. Actually, it's a wooden material whereby the photo is mounted here. Even if it drops down, it cannot break because it does not have the mirror like the traditional photo frame. Yeah, actually that is the advantage of photo mount to the frame. If this drops or it falls down, that is the end of. That's the end of the frame, because it will just go, because it's a mirror. That's why nowadays you're talking about this photo mount. It is one of the best ways of mounting your photos. Even if it drops, it cannot get spoiled. Yeah. So that is photo. I'll put it back later. And then again we have what you call a canvas. And then again, the canvas has an advantage, than the photo mount. This is an A3 canvas. You can see the advantage of this, man, the way that the photo is coming out, it's looking so natural. This, it's just like a material. The photo is printed over here, and you cannot rub it. It cannot move out of here. And one of the advantages is it's very light. Yeah, very light, and it looks very artistic. So this is that is canvas. And then the good thing about it, even if it drops down, it cannot get spoiled. So those are three ways of documenting our photos. So we have the frame, we have the photo mount, any common bow, but the disadvantage of these two canvas, this is a bit heavy, and especially when it drops on its tip, it can get spoiled. But it is much better than the frame. For those people who want to remain old school or to look old school, they will go for the photo frames. But it has got it has its own artistic touch or artistic feel. So those are three ways of documenting your photos. There's also a very important point to note that the way photos are printed, at times it can really mislead you. I've said that the most important thing when you're doing photo printing, because in all this, printing has to get involved, and there are different formats. As for the layman, you may not be able to understand those terminology of the ways the photos are being printed. But there are photo printers which are meant for temporary printing, so it cannot last for 2 years. I remember when I was starting photography, I did not realize, or I did not note that different. I remember doing a photo mount to one of my, actually it was a frame. I did a frame, and I went and I printed on a format which could not last for 2 years. When I printed that photo, the photo looked very nice, very nice. Actually, they really praised me when I took that photo to them, because by the look, the photo looked very okay. But as the days went by, the photo started fading out, slowly by slowly. Ikaanza kufade. And me, I could notice, because the guys that I did the printing were my friends, and I could go to their home occasionally to visit them, and I will look at the photo, and I will notice that the photo is fading out. And I came to realize, how can I convince? Because by the time, before the end of 2 years, I had realized that I had learned that the way that I did printed to those guys was not the correct way of doing the photo printing. And I started wondering how I can help them. And I told them, by the way, I would want to do a bigger way. Then they had not noticed the fading out of the photo. I went and I used my own ways to convince them to give me the photo, so that I bring them a bigger bigger photo. So when I took it, I went and I did the printing with the machines that are everlasting. For example, this photo that you see here, this is my grandfather, and he died in 1980. So this photo was taken in 1980. The format of this photo, the way that this photo is printed, it was taken in 1980. Actually it was printed in 1980. So how many years are those? It's more than 40 years or something like that. It should be around, actually it is 40 years, more than 40 years. From 1980 to 2023, yeah, it's more than 40 years. And the photo is looking very okay. It's looking very, very okay. Because the way that it was printed on those machines, high class or high quality machines, if I may speak on a layman's language. Today, people are going, have you ever noticed those machines that print your photos when, for example, you go to the funeral and there are those guys who come with those printers called Epson. And then they print for you an A4 photo. You go home knowing that now you've got yourself a very nice photo. Yes, the photo is very nice. The photo could be looking very, very nice. But for how long will that photo last? That photo, for sure, it cannot go beyond 2 years. Because the way the ink that prints that photo, it is called water-based ink. So it dissolves. With time, it keeps on dissolving. With the exposure of the light, because it's water, and there is heat, maybe the heat of the sun or room temperature. With time, that photo continue fading out. But this photo, you can imagine, for 40 years, it's still looking as if it was printed yesterday, because of the ways that it's printed. And that's why we're telling you here at Urban Studio, you're so much careful on the kind of printouts that you're doing to our customers. We give them the best quality. There's another photo, I wish I brought it. I come from a missionary church, SMS Anglican Church in Kabete. There is a photo that was taken, the first wedding to happen in central Kenya. You can go and find that photo at St. Paul's Mother Church, Kabete. And that photo, it is more than 100 years. 100 years. They were taken by a Mzungu. And that photo is still intact. So guys, when you're going to buy those photos, you know, it is very hard for you to know the difference, because once you go and get the photo taken, you may not notice the difference. So here at Urban Studio, we give you the best photo that you can ever. It can last forever. It can last even for 100 years. I know some people might think that is a myth, but it's very, very true. So most of the people who are doing printouts outside there, and especially when you go to the occasions, to the wedding, you see paparazzi and displaying their photos there. Go and do a test. That photo cannot last for 2 years. And in case you have that photo that maybe you went and bought it from a paparazzi somewhere, bring that photo to us here, and we shall upgrade it so that we will do it in a format like this, whereby it can last for many years. Yes. So, and then again, there are many people who are doing mounting. If you go to the social media, like you see, our price for photo mount is 3,500 shillings. And you can go to the social media and you see other people are doing it with a size like this with 900 shillings. There's another client just 2 weeks back. He came to our studio crying because there's somebody who made her a photo mount like this. And then, actually, like what I've just told you, by the end of 1 year, the photo was fading out. And I explained to her that that is the photo, or the way that the photo was printed out. was not the correct way. So all the photos that you have them in the frame, in the photo mount, they have got to go through the process of printing. And that client told us that they are going to test our mounts. So our mounts, don't get worried because of the prices that we are giving you. We are giving you what you call quality. Quality, it is one of the best things that you can ever have. Because a wise person said that cheap, it's very, very expensive. So this is an A3 mount, and A3 mount costing 3,500 Kenya shillings. And then you have got another one, another size, is called an A4. An A4, it costs, it goes for 2,500 Kenya shillings. Then we have this canvas over here. Oh, yeah, this canvas I'm just showing you. So, canvas, it's very, very artistic, as I told you before. This one goes for 7,000 Kenya shillings. I told you that the advantage of canvas means it's very, very light, very nice, to not give you a lot of hassles. Yeah, and I think it looks very, very presentable. And then we have many other sizes that you do. We have this an A1. This is an A1, which is costing 10,000. We'll go for sure that we will go and find out that there are some other people who are doing it even cheaper. Remember that I told you that cheap is very, very expensive. So this is an A2. We have different kind of, we can even make as a big, amount which is as big as A1, A0, and any kind of size you can be able to make for you. So that is advantage of having your photos done here at Urban Studio Photography. In case of any question, you can always call us. On the screen we shall leave our contact. Anytime that you want to do your photo mount, make sure that you bring them to Urban Studio Photography. And I've also told you the advantage of documenting your photos, because most of the photos that you do, or that you have them in your phones, remember that they can get lost. The other most important thing that I would want to advise you, when you're taking your photos, be very careful the way that you're taking your photos. At times it's very, very good to make sure that you come to the studio and you're taking photos, because most of the people say that why do I have to come to the studio? After all, I have my phone that I can use to take photos with. Remember, a photo could look very, very well, very nice on the phone, but when you come to print it, oh my, it gives you a very, very different resolution. So a photo taken with a phone, it is not good for printing, and especially if you've shared that photo over with WhatsApp, because WhatsApp reduces the quality of the photo by a process called pixelation. So when you're going to print that photo, it will not give you a good quality. So guys, I will advise you to make sure that when you're printing your photos, make sure that you have quality photos. You've heard people who want to have their photo done of their deceased. They're looking for a photo and they cannot find any photo, so they bring us any kind of photo, because they are looking at that photo over the phone or on the phone, and they are kind of seeing that this is a quality photo, but when it's printed, it gives a different resolution. So guys, as I wind up, I want you to realize, or to make sure that you have a very nice quality photo of yourself. I usually tell people it is not necessary that you take photo for the sake of even admiring it. Taking a photo has a lot of advantages. Yeah. One of them, it is keeping our memories fresh. Suppose if I did not have the photo of my grandfather here with me. My grandfather here died when I was 2 years, and I could not have recognized him. But through the photo, I can be able to see him. Suppose this photo was taken, maybe was saved somewhere in a hard disk, and most probably somebody somewhere forgot how he saved that photo. That's why I'm telling you that bring your photo for framing, for mounting, for putting in canvas. And that is the end of our session. And we are looking forward to have a lot of questions online, and we shall be careful to make sure that we have responded to your questions. Thank you very much. It's me, Jeff Mongai. Thank you.